Right now on Spectrum News Buffalo, Erie County Clerk Mikey Kern's lawsuit against the state's green light laws is dismissed in federal court on Friday.
Federal agents rode into City Hall on Wednesday and come out with cards of evidence in a raid of the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency.
And UB men's basketball is back, but for a new era of the team marked the team's first loss as the Bulls fell to Dartmouth in a close one, 68-63.
This recap and other stories up next on Spectrum News.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. This weekend, it's Saturday, November 9th. I'm Aiden Pollard.
And I'm Ronan May. We'll loop you in on the top stories of the day.
But before that, here's a look at today's forecast.
Welcome back to Weather on the Ones. I'm Spectrum News meteorologist Brooke Cigarelli. Temperatures today not going to be as cold as the low 30s we had on Friday. It looks like we're going to end up with some mid 30s for places like Arcade and Springville, and then closer to 40 degrees for Buffalo, Tonawanda, and along the lakeshore in Angola. Southern tier, we're looking at highs in the 30s across the region, 36 degrees for Jamestown, and then 39 for Salamanca and Allegheny. But it feels colder. We will be dealing with some breezy conditions out of the south and southwest today. Winds will be sustained 10 to 20 miles per hour, occasionally some gusts close to 30. So it's going to feel more like the upper 20s to low 30s across the area for the afternoon. And we'll fast forward into Sunday afternoon. I think we're going to do a little bit better, not only temperature wise, but it is going to feel a little bit better, although still chilly for this time of year. But I think most of us, it's going to feel more like the 30s tomorrow afternoon. Close to 37 degrees is what it will feel like around 2 o'clock in Niagara Falls tomorrow. We'll do a little bit better temperature wise tomorrow as well. We'll take you through it now on the future cast. Other than a few lake flurries and light snow showers coming off the northeast end of Lake Erie this morning, which isn't expected to amount to all that much, maybe as much as an inch in spots. So watch for some slick spots if you will be traveling across the area, but that will continue to weaken and fall apart as the morning progresses. Otherwise, we're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies. A better chance for some sunshine breaks out during the afternoon, and you can see some thin spots showing up here on the future cast, but that sun doesn't help us out temperature wise. And then any of those breaks in the overcast will fill back in as we head throughout tonight and into our Sunday. And it looks like Sunday morning not going to be as cold as we only fall back into the low and mid 30s. It will be a dry start to our Sunday, but then the chance for some showers, a few showers will move across the area as we head throughout the morning and into tomorrow afternoon. Most of us looking at plain old rain, but if that precipitation falls early enough and those temperatures are still cold enough in the morning, we could see a little bit of a mix, maybe even a little bit of snow in spots. But most of us looking at plain old rain as we see those showers work their way across the area on Sunday. But that rain changes over to snow on Monday as some colder air and a cold front moves through on Veterans Day. And then much colder air will build in for Tuesday and Wednesday, where highs look to only top out in the 20s. And we're looking at some lake effect snow to get going at that point. Right now, a little too early to say exactly how much snow we're expecting for sure. We will continue to fine-tune those details as we head throughout the weekend, but some likely accumulating snow is expected for Monday and into Tuesday.
Mayor Baron Brown said he wasn't aware of the impending investigation which involved a federal raid at City Hall on Wednesday. Federal investigators from the FBI and more left City Hall with cards of evidence hidden under blue tarps. Investigators raided the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency, which falls under the Office of Urban Planning and is proposed as preventing blight and declination in neighborhoods throughout the city. Mayor Baron Brown said no much was relayed his way before Wednesday.
I haven't been given any information about the investigation or the nature of the investigation. No one has spoken to me directly about the investigation, and I have not been provided any additional detail. We respect the work of federal agencies. They had a search warrant that they executed. It's my understanding that our employees in the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency were very cooperative and that the information they were seeking was taken.
No arrests were made on Wednesday after the 8 hours that the FBI, Housing and Urban Development, and IRS spent in City Hall. Still, the investigations raised questions around Brown, as well as city officials' knowledge of the raid before this week.
A judge dismissed Erie Council Clerk Mikey Kern's challenge of a law which will allow undocumented immigrants to obtain driver's licenses in the state. Kearns filed a lawsuit in July saying the green light legislation would violate federal law because we are harboring illegal aliens by giving them a driver's license. Federal Judge Elizabeth Wolford did not weigh in on the law's constitutionality on Friday, but did question the effect that the law would have on Kearns. Kearns, during a press conference on Friday, said he felt the judge's decision was a punt away from her responsibility to weigh in.
The voters of Erie County have spoken. I was elected twice to this office, and I feel as though that I'm going to do the best to uphold the Constitution. I sat in this office, or in this room, and I raised my right hand to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States of America. And I'm going to continue to do that as long as I'm the Erie County Clerk.
Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz, in a statement, wrote that elected officials like Kearns are sworn to uphold the laws of New York State, and we do not get to choose whether we will enforce a law.
3 Albany middle schoolers were removed from school and arrested after they threatened to kill students and staff in school with weapons. The students used Discord, a popular gaming app, to share inappropriate and threatening images. According to the school district, the 3 students, all under 16 years old, are facing felony conspiracy charges. According to Albany Police Chief Roland Nanny, law enforcement seized firearms from the students, who are suspended as an investigation continues.
From learning of the initial threat, steps were taken by the Albion Police to increase school security, and in no time were staff or students in any danger. The planned attack on the school has been mitigated, and the Albion school campus is safe.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said in a statement that any person posing a threat to our schools will face the harshest possible penalty under the law, stating that he's crystal clear on the matter.
A Canisius student was robbed at gunpoint last night on campus. Canisius officials say a student, a resident in the Village complex, was robbed around 6:45 p.m. The suspect appeared to have a 9mm handgun, and the student was familiar with the suspect, who robbed him in his own apartment. The suspect, who was described as a 6'2" black man with a brown jacket and black jeans, fled the scene. If you have information on the robbery, Canisius officials say you should call them immediately at 716-888-2330.
Niagara Global Tourist Institute opened the TRIC Incubator this week, a project that centers living spaces alongside a year for community development. The institute hopes the incubator can bring confidence to the city, partnering with hotels to service business-minded travelers who want to bring technology in their innovations.
We provide resources for them to help them get that idea out of their head on a piece of paper so they can launch a business.
The new space will offer a cave and merge businesses into the space, hoping to put collaboration at the forefront.
UB men's basketball started the season with a loss against Dartmouth on Friday. It was the Bulls' first game under new head coach Jim Witzel, but the team struggled to get ahead of Dartmouth all game. With senior Devonta Jordan's 17 points and Josh Mbala's solid 10 points and 9 rebounds, the Bulls got razor close with 6 minutes to go, but the Bulls' offense was rough, shooting 35.6% on the game. The Bulls lost 68-63 to Luke Rebound on Monday against Nazareth College at the university's North Campus.
The Sabres took an extended road trip to Sweden this week, but lost 3-2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning on Friday. Sam Reinhart scored both goals for the Sabres, but it was no match for Nikita Kucherov, who swam around the ice and got Tampa Bay to an early lead within 4 minutes of play. The loss marks 4th straight for the Sabres, who have only had one victory since their 8-1-1 start. The Sabres play the Lightning this afternoon, continuing this News Global matchup.
Buffalo may be far from Los Angeles, but the Clippers showed the Queen City some love on Thursday. The NBA team wore a classic Buffalo Braves uniform during a primetime matchup against the Portland Trail Blazers. The orange, black, and white jerseys are a throwback to the early 70s when the Bob McAdoo-led Braves threw up jumpers in the odd. The Clippers will wear the jerseys throughout the season, with the next Brave appearance on December 3rd.
The former catalog and retail chain Sears will soon be a thing of the past in Western New York. Hamburg's McKinley Mall store will close along with 95 other Sears and Kmart locations, just as the former Eastern Hills Mall location closed last year. Transform Company announced the closure on Thursday as it seeks a new outlook for the struggling company. Sears had 3,500 physical stores in 2010. Now, 10 years later, the store will have just 126 in February with the closures. The store at McKinley Mall will have its going out of business sale beginning on December 2nd.
Santa Claus is coming to town 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. The dazzling red suit and North Pole icon stopped, dropped, and opened up shop with his elves in Warden Galleria on Friday. Kris Kringle will be posted on the first floor of the mall, right next to the Apple Store and Clark's. With long holiday lines, Santa stands can get an appointment with the Jolly Giant in advance of their visit to the Galleria. You can also flip your love of Santa Claus to Santa Paws with pet photo nights at the Galleria Mondays and Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. until December 17th. That does it for this half hour, but there's a ton of news stories and weather for you coming up. We'll be back after a quick pause. Don't go away. You're watching Spectrum News.